Good morning, people. It's Monday morning. Hope you have a great week. Hope you had a good weekend. We ended last week in that incredible place of Jesus finding himself in the pit below Caiaphas, the high priest's house, having gone through an incredibly emotionally draining time. The betrayal of Peter, the disciples all running off, Judas coming and kissing that kiss of betrayal, his friends deserting him, finding himself all alone in that place underneath Caiaphas' house. And here he is, the King of Kings, in a place that no one in their right mind would ever picture him to be. And then it reads in chapter 15, it says this: very early in the morning, the chief priests with the elders and the teachers of the law and the whole Sanhedrin reached a decision. They bound Jesus and handed him over to Pilate. "Are you the king of the Jews?" asked Pilate. "Yes, it is, as you say," Jesus replied. The chief priest accused him of many things. So again Pilate asked him, "Aren't you going to answer? See how many things they're accusing you of?" But Jesus still made no reply, and Pilate was amazed. I've got to tell you, people, I'm amazed. Aren't you? Here's Jesus, the King of Kings, a king way above every earthly king, who had the armies of heaven at his disposal, ready to come and to deliver him from the hands of these cruel Romans and from the hands of the lies of the Pharisees and the religious leaders of the day, and to come and whip him away and take him up to heaven and put him back on the throne which he belongs on. And Jesus stands there and is silent. I wouldn't be silent. I'd be very quickly and very loudly proclaiming my defense, saying, "Don't you know who I am? I am the king. I'm not just this king. I'm the king of the Jews. I'm the king of the world. I'm the king of this year. I'm the King of Kings, Pilate. Don't mess with me. I got angels, thousands of them, ready to come and relieve me of the suffering." And yet I stand amazed, because Jesus didn't do that. He stood there. He took it all. And then to crown it all, they took a man called Barabbas, and they released Barabbas in Jesus's place. Let me just read that section to you and see if our amazement doesn't continue just to grow. "Now it was the custom at the feast to release a prisoner whom the people requested. A man called Barabbas was in prison with the insurrectionists who had committed murder in the uprising. The crowd came up and asked Pilate to do for them what he usually did. 'Do you want me to release to you the King of the Jews?' asked Pilate, knowing it was out of envy that the chief priests had handed Jesus over to him. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have Pilate released instead. 'What shall I do then with the one you call the King of the Jews?' Pilate asked. 'Crucify him,' they shouted." Find that incredible, don't you? That here they are shouting for the crucifixion of a man who had done nothing wrong. When the thief who was on the cross with Jesus, next to Jesus, he said to the other thief who began to rail at Jesus and mock him, and this man said, "Hey, I wouldn't be too cocky if I were you." He said, "You and I get what we deserve. We are the ones who have murdered. We are the ones who have stolen. But this man has done nothing wrong. You and I are getting what we deserve." And Jesus died for the people like him. And I'm going to tell you, people, I think that when we look at that from a personal point of view, we have to identify with that thief. We have done wrong. Well, maybe we haven't murdered, I don't know. Maybe we haven't been part of an insurrection or stolen people blind, I don't know. I hope not. But isn't it amazing that we should have stood with that man? We should have been upon the cross. We should have been receiving the punishment for the sin that we have committed. But like him, we stood amazed, as Pilate was amazed, the fact that Jesus took Barabbas' place. Didn't just take Barabbas' place. He took your place, and he took mine as well. I think it would be appropriate today just to sit quietly and just contemplate this incredible truth, that should have been me hanging upon that other cross. Should have been me dying for the sins that I have committed, but instead Jesus said, "I'll do it on your behalf." And I guess when Pilate said he's amazed, we're amazed at a whole bunch of things, aren't we? We're amazed that Jesus would even love us, that Jesus would even care for us, that Jesus would be willing to do what he did on our behalf. Isn't that amazing? We'll revel in that amazement today. Make this a day where consciously throughout the day you're contemplating the sacrifice of Jesus, the willing sacrifice of Jesus on your behalf. We should be hanging upon those crosses for the sins that we have committed, but Jesus did it on our behalf. That, people, is indeed amazing. I guess that's what made Al Newton write that song, Amazing Grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Like that thief on the cross, we once were lost, but now are found. We were blind, but now we see. It's amazing grace that did that on our behalf. Spend a few moments today contemplating those beautiful thoughts, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.